The movie kicks off in Perth, Australia, where Professor Edgar Solomon is about to give a speech at some fancy party. He starts reciting what sounds like an innocent children's poem about a rabbit and a bear. Cute, right? Well, not so much when the poem takes a sharp turn into inappropriate territory, making everyone at the party squirm in their seats. A woman standing next to him tries to shut him down and then casually slices off one of her fingers with a knife. What a charming way to handle social awkwardness. Her screams send everyone running for the exit. When the security guard shows up and orders him to put his hands up, Edgar decides he's not in the mood to comply. The guard shoots him dead, and with his dying breath, Edgar desperately tries to reach his phone but fails. Parties in Australia really know how to end with a bang. Meanwhile, across the world in New Orleans, we meet Elliot Brindle, a salesman who's got a lot on his plate. He's engaged, expecting a baby, and planning to get married in just a few days. Life's looking pretty good for him, right? Wrong. His boss decides this is the perfect time to fire him, explaining that Elliot has too much empathy to be in sales. Translation: he actually cares about his customers instead of treating them like walking wallets. Elliot heads home to his mentally challenged younger brother, Michael, who's basically his biggest responsibility. He's been shelling out $200 every month for Michael's outpatient care, and now that he's unemployed, there's a real chance Michael could end up in a mental institution that terrifies him. Desperate for help, Elliot swallows his pride and drives to see his father, Samson, who happens to be both abusive and racist. What a winning combination. But instead of getting the financial support he needs, Elliot discovers that dear old dad has blown through all his retirement money and will now be moving in with them. Just what his life was missing. That night, Elliot's sitting alone in his car, being annoyed by a persistent fly when his phone rings. The caller claims he's been selected for some exclusive game show that could solve all his money problems. Elliot's first instinct is to assume it's a scammer, which shows he's got at least some common sense left. He's about to hang up when the mysterious caller starts reciting Elliot's entire life story, including details about his mother's fatal car accident and other personal information that no random scammer should know. So now he's dealing with a scammer and a stalker. The caller even mentions the fly that's been buzzing around him, leaving Elliot completely speechless. The man offers him a simple deal: kill the fly, get $1,000 in his bank account. Without overthinking it, Elliot swats the annoying insect. Seconds later, his phone buzzes with a notification confirming that $1,000 has indeed been deposited into his account. Elliot jumps out of the car and frantically looks around, convinced someone must be watching him. But he's completely alone, which makes the whole situation even more unsettling. The mysterious voice returns with challenge number 2, swallow the dead fly for exactly $3,622. Elliot races home and checks his computer to confirm the money is real. It is. Faced with mounting bills and a desperate need for cash, he reluctantly chokes down the dead fly. The congratulatory phone call comes immediately, followed by another cash deposit. Now thoroughly confused and disturbed, Elliot asks if he's being watched in his own home. The voice explains that he can have his privacy back anytime he wants, but that would mean disqualification from the game. Then comes the explanation of the rules. Elliot will face 13 challenges total, each one bringing bigger rewards. If he fails any challenge, interferes with the game, or tells anyone about it, he loses everything he's already earned. Having completed 2 challenges, he's got 11 more to go. To officially register as a contestant, he has to say the phrase, "I will dance with the golden toad." Well, that clears everything up. The prank caller must be Luigi. Elliot says the magic words and becomes an official player. The next day, he's at a park with Shelby and her parents, anxiously waiting for challenge number 3. When the call comes, he's told to make a child cry for $5,000. He excuses himself and starts scouting for the perfect target. A little girl runs up to him, practically gift-wrapping the opportunity. Elliot tells her that her parents are planning to abandon her at an orphanage, which naturally makes her burst into tears. The child runs back to her parents while Elliot collects his prize money and quickly escapes with Shelby as the furious parents shout after them. Next, they head to the church to pick up Elliot's father. Challenge number 4 arrives, burn down a nativity scene that was handcrafted by blind children for the church. When no one's looking, Elliot drags the structure outside and sets it ablaze. Moments later, the 10,000 appears in his account. For Challenge 5, he's instructed to follow a homeless person and steal their clothes and belongings. While all this is happening, the little girl's parents are at the police station filing a report about the incident at the park. At the same time, the homeless person also shows up to report that someone stole all their stuff. Detective Chilcote starts connecting the dots when the sketches come in. The person who made the child cry, burned down the church, and robbed the homeless person is clearly the same individual. Elliot's now facing challenge number 6. Take a man from a specific apartment out for coffee. At first, he thinks this challenge is going to be a walk in the park. Then he discovers the catch. The man he's supposed to take out for coffee is currently lying dead in a bathtub. Well, that complicates things. With no way out of this mess, Elliot grabs some air freshener and doses the corpse to mask the smell of death. He then gets the body dressed up and loads it into a wheelbarrow, casually strolling to the nearest diner like he's taking his buddy out for a casual meal. The waitress comes over to take their order and doesn't bat an eye at his silent companion, thanks to the hat conveniently hiding the dead guy's face. Elliot's working against a deadline, so when the waitress moves at the speed of molasses, his patient starts wearing thin. Just when things couldn't get more stressful, a group of police officers walks into the diner for lunch. When his coffee still hasn't arrived by the last second, Elliot makes a desperate move and snatches a cup right off the cop's table. Mission accomplished, but now he's got bigger problems. The officers ask him to step outside for a chat, but Elliot notices they've been drinking on duty and calls them out on it. He manages to escape while they're busy arguing with him. The mysterious caller congratulates him on his improvisation skills and decides to skip Challenge 7 entirely, jumping straight to number 8. Elliot's brief moment of triumph comes crashing down when the caller informs him that he left his library card at the diner. The police will track him down soon enough, but if he completes all the remaining challenges, the initiator promises to make all his legal troubles disappear. His only path to freedom now runs through this twisted game. A van shows up to collect Elliot and takes him to some undisclosed location for his next mission. Back at the diner, the police discover the corpse and launch their investigation. Detective Chilcote spots a suspicious man questioning the waitress about Elliot and decides to tail him. The trail leads to a trailer where the detective discovers that this guy has been investigating the game extensively. He's traced its origins and figured out what happens to the people who play it, but information about the actual mastermind remains elusive. Meanwhile, Elliot finds himself in a room face to face with John, his old high school bully. Challenge number 8 cut off John's arm. The twist: John is completely on board with losing a limb for cash. Elliot's definitely getting the better end of this deal. When Elliot hesitates, John helpfully reminds him of all the times he made his life miserable back in school, which gives Elliot the motivation he needs. After completing the amputation, he drives John to the hospital and collects his 250,000 reward. One has to wonder what John's cut was. Next stop, his wedding rehearsal dinner. Challenge 9 involves trashing the entire party in front of everyone and urinating in one of the flower arrangements. Just as he's about to start, the police show up looking for Michael, accusing him of public indecency. Elliot sees an opportunity to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. He uses the distraction to help his brother while simultaneously completing his challenge, smashing all the dishes and relieving himself in the floral arrangements. This way, Shelby thinks he's being a protective brother when he's really just earning his next payday. He manages to escape security, but Challenge 10 requires him to surrender himself to the police. He reluctantly returns and gets arrested. During interrogation, they accuse him of crimes he didn't commit, which makes him realize there's another player in the game. When no one's watching, Elliot breaks off a piece of his chair and uses it as a weapon to take a police officer hostage. He makes his escape by jumping out a window and landing in a conveniently placed dumpster. His phone gets lost during the chase, leaving him with no way to contact his mysterious handler. That's when he spots a homeless woman nearby and figures she must be his next contact. They head into a nearby trailer together. Elsewhere, Detective Chilcote tracks down Fogler, the conspiracy theorist he's been looking for. Turns out Fogler's wife played this same game years ago and died in the process. Since then, he's been obsessed with finding the person behind it all. Back in the trailer, the woman gives Elliot his next mission: hang up a clothes hanger. Simple enough, right? He does as instructed, but then realizes the string extends across a road where a group of kids are riding their bikes. If that string stays up, it's going to decapitate them. Elliot quickly removes the string. However, the other player in the game has no such qualms and puts up another string, brutally killing the young cyclists. Seeing their decapitated bodies, Elliot has a moment of regret about missing out on the cash. Just kidding, Elliot decides he's done with this sick game. He chases after the second player to try and stop him. The man jumps in a van and speeds away with Elliot in pursuit. The initiator calls Elliot on a phone he'd stolen earlier to deliver the final challenge. The last mission is the same for all players: kill a family member. Elliot ignores the call, wanting nothing more to do with this nightmare. But when he sees the van parked outside his apartment building, his blood runs cold. Inside, he finds his father in the living room and Michael in the bathroom. The pieces fall into place. Michael is the other player. Michael's still committed to winning and is ready to shoot their father to claim victory. Then their father drops a bombshell. He played this same game years ago and won by killing their mother. Both brothers are stunned. Elliot prepares to kill his father, but the old man slits his own throat to prevent either son from winning. Elliot wants to end this madness, but Michael points his gun at his brother, determined to finish the game. While trying to talk sense into him, Elliot accidentally shoots Michael. Even with a bullet in him, the younger brother refuses to give up. Michael stabs Elliot but dies in the process. Elliot has somehow completed all 13 challenges. He limps away from the house while Detective Chilcote watches from the shadows. Plot twist: the detective has been working for the game all along. He killed Fogler when the conspiracy theorist got too close to the truth. Detective Chilcote enters the house to burn the bodies and destroy the evidence. Before he can torch the place, Elliot returns and shoots him dead. In the final scene, Kay Elliot calls Shelby to tell her he's okay. She mentions receiving a strange phone call that morning from someone asking her to eat a fly. Elliot freezes in horror, but Shelby says she turned them down. The game continues with new players, and the cycle of horror keeps spinning. If someone calls you asking to eat insects for cash, maybe just hang up and apply for a regular job instead. If you enjoyed watching Elliot's descent into madness as much as I enjoyed narrating it, smash that like button harder than Elliot smashed those dinner plates. Subscribe for more movie breakdowns and hit that notification bell so you never miss another tale of people making spectacularly poor decisions for money. Until next time, stay safe out there.